So as you find these thoughts that are easier for you to hook up with Source, so that you become addicted to that connection, what will happen is you'll find yourself unwilling and eventually not even capable of focusing upon those thoughts that have been putting the resistance on your trail. And this is going to be hard for you to hear, but it's the reality that we want you to know. It's not the decision of your children that is keeping you from your grandchildren. It's the resistance that you've put on your own trail in response to what you think they mean or what you think they're saying to you. Feels like it's a reality that they are creating because these are demands that they're making. These are edicts that they are putting out there. But that's never what is really happening. Your response to them is just causing you to pile more and more and more stuff on your trail, on your path of least resistance, that's preventing you from what you want. But as you get your attention off of that and on other things, that will begin to dissipate more and more. And then it will one day just feel logical to them. These children are not going to be that old before they begin requesting time with you. And in their alignment, their connection to Source, their power of influence will be much greater. And that rendezvous is a sure thing. It's a done deal. It has happened many, many times in the vortex, and it will bring itself all the way to fruition. You've just got to stop being sad in the meantime. We really want to make that statement to anyone who wants anything that hasn't yet manifested. You got to stop being bent out of shape over the fact that the manifestation hasn't happened, because you're being uncomfortable about the fact that the manifestation hasn't happened is what's causing you to put all the stuff on the trail and preventing it from happening sooner. It's not possible for you to not get what you want. We just don't think you should have to croak in order to get your resistance to go away. That is extreme, but it works. But we don't think you should have to do that in order for your resistance to be away. You see?
The human mind is so powerful with memory.
The human mind is so powerful that you have the ability to use it to focus to your advantage.
And it's just not easy. At night, I'll lay down to sleep.
You know why it's not easy? Because law of attraction is responding to the momentum that you've got going. Okay. But as you try a little bit and focus elsewhere a little bit, that momentum will subside. Our story, you've heard it if you've been listening to us at all. San Francisco car, top of the hill, take the brake off, take it out of gear. Esther wanted to just push it just a little bit to see what would happen. Jerry advised against it. He knew what would happen, and so did Esther, but she thought it would be fun. She was teasing him. Come on, let's just see. Let's just see. Well, you know what would happen. The momentum would take it right into the bay. So Esther thought, well, let's just let it go a little bit, and before it gets going, I'll just stand in front of it, and it'll bump up against me. Jerry didn't let her even get that far. But she knew she could stop it before it really got started. You always can, can't you? You can always stop momentum before it really gets started, but once it's really rolling, you don't want to stand down there at the bottom of the hill trying to stop a rolling car. So don't ask yourself to be able to do the impossible thing. Don't stand at the bottom of the hill trying to stop a rolling car. Catch it in the earlier stages, just a little bit at a time. And before you know it, law of attraction will be working for you. It always is. It feels like it's working against you. Sometimes you say, it feels like my thoughts are thinking me rather than that I'm thinking my thoughts. But that's just the momentum of law of attraction. You've all experienced it. Have you ever had something under your skin bugging you? And you really don't want to talk about it because it's negative, but then you spill the beans to someone. And then you think you feel relief because you've vented. But now the momentum is just getting going. And then you think of more things. Now you feel bad about saying it. So now you think of more things to support what you said. And now, if they're patient enough to listen to you for a little while, now they got stuff they want to say too. Now you've really got this momentum going. And then you just sort of have to roll down the hill into the water, or have a good night's sleep, or meditate. You have to do something that helps you to release the direction of, or the momentum of. So when you say it's hard, we don't disagree. If you were to say it's not possible, we would not agree. If you were to say it's hard because law of attraction has hold of my practice thoughts, we would agree. If you say, but it can get easier because I can practice other thoughts, we would agree with that too. And so that's why we say, when you first awaken in the morning, while you slept, your momentum stopped. You didn't completely make the potential of the active vibration go away, but you have stopped the momentum. And when you wake up in the morning, you could start it in a different way if you cared enough about how you feel. So I have some questions for you. Do you believe that you have accepted feeling bad for the rest of your life as your, we don't want to use the word punishment, as your probability? Do you just believe that it is your lot in life, given everything that's happened, to just feel bad for the rest of your life? Do you believe that? Because a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking.
I really don't. It's more along the lines of, it feels like every time I get to that place, another tragedy happens. This is like the third, fourth suicide, drug-related death in my best friend. It feels like the world won't stop happening. Tragedy won't stop outside of me.
Does anybody have the statistics? Do you know how many people have died since we started talking? It's our fault, not yours. No. We just want you to understand that what you're calling death is a logical part of life. You didn't intend to come into these bodies and focus here always. And so we want to find a way that we can soothe the word tragedy and begin calling it logical reality. Begin calling it the response that different people are having to life. Begin calling it just sort of what's going on, to stand back from it. When Esther began visiting with us, it was hard for her at first to listen to or get her thoughts around our cavalier attitude about what you call physical death. But over time, we were able to help her to understand that the reason that we are light about it is because nobody ever dies.
Right.
The reason that we are light about it is because we are consciousness in full availability to all other consciousness. That when someone, no matter who it is, whether it's your beloved animal or whether it's your beloved mother or whether it's your beloved lover, it doesn't matter who it is. Anytime someone makes their transition, they are still consciousness, and now they are pure positive energy consciousness focused on you every single time. Those who remain in physical form after someone has made their transition are fully aware of you, loving you fully with no conditions attached. And so if you start tuning into that, you'll stop calling it tragedies. You'll say, oh, got another lift today, someone else died. Someone who I never had positive access to before because they were disconnected from that source, but now they're reveling in this pure positive energy. The other day, Esther was visiting with an electrician in her house, and he was up on a ladder installing this beautiful new Art Deco lamp that she had found, and she was excited about it, and he was too. And they were talking about different things. And he mentioned that his wife was about to go into labor any day. And he said that there were 3 names that they were considering. And when he said the name Jonah, Esther got goosebumps all over her. And she said to him, none of my business. Not knowing what his religion is and probably thinking that he might not take to what she's doing. In other words, she's sort of possessed here. So she was gentle, but she said, I just gotta say, I think this baby wants to be named Jonah because I can feel it all over. And he said, ooh, I'm getting it too. I'm getting it too. So what we want you to understand is that if someone coming in is aware of you and what you're talking about, especially as it pertains to them, someone who's just moved on out is aware too. See what we're getting at? There is no separation. Now it's an unconditioned. Now it's a vortexual relationship. Now it's a vibrational relationship. Now it's an emotional relationship. So there's nothing tragic about someone defocusing here and putting their attention somewhere else. Source is never calling you into something that is wrong. And you just got to know that sometimes that is the path of least resistance, which means it's the path of most allowance. Death doesn't mean something went wrong. Death means something is going very, very right, because you are eternal consciousnesses focused here in this time-space reality. So imagine a world, or even a small cluster, or even 5 of you in a corner somewhere, in alignment with who you are, tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You've been laughing, you've been scratching, you've been having a good time, you've been feeling in love with life and with each other, and using each other as a point of rendezvous. Imagine being in alignment and then allowing the source within you to help you rendezvous here and here and here and here and here. Not one of you ever said to any other of you prior to coming into this experience, "You will be my only rendezvous." Every one of you knew that your dominant intention for rendezvous was with the source within you, and that once that alignment is consistently in place, that you will be inspired to behavior. You have not been off your track. You have not done anything wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. You are living life. Tragedies aren't happening. Things are happening. It's all in the way that you are choosing to look at it, you see. If you all are watching CNN or some of those news broadcasts where it is their sole intent to go around the world looking for trouble, and then finding it, exaggerating it, tilting it, and putting dramatic music behind it, and then bringing it right into your living rooms, then you are inordinately aware of tragic and trauma around the world. And we know when it comes up close to you, sometimes it worries you, especially when you are with someone like us who is always saying you create your own reality. But if you create your own reality, then everybody else does too. And so you can't be the one that created their reality just because you know them. They created their own reality and you knew them. They created their own reality and you knew them. And you were not charged with the assignment of making it different for not one of them. You did come forth intending to tune into source, so that through the power of your example you could inspire others to want to find somehow that happy experience that you are finding. But you can't get sick enough to help sick get well, and you can't get poor enough to help poor become prosperous, and you cannot solve the problems of the world by focusing upon them. Just live your own life and let the source within you revel through you, and let the goosebumps indicate to you your alignment with source, and practice it enough that you're steady there, and then watch the inordinate number of good things that come your way, and leave everyone to create their own reality, and don't take credit or responsibility for anything that's happening to anyone else. And before you know it, you'll be clustering like you all are here with others who are somewhat like-minded, who are uplifters in nature, who are deliberately creating your own reality, who are finding your vibration on purpose, who are practicing yourself into the art of alignment and living happily ever after, but not stopping death, not preventing it in others, not interfering with anything else that anybody is doing, living your life the way you've intended to, and finding unconditional alignment with source. So we think it is really a wonderful gift when someone comes into your experience by your attraction, yes, who doesn't jump through hoops in order to present to you a conditional presentation that you can then have a good feeling response to. We think it's a wonderful thing when things happen around you that you have to adjust to, because otherwise you've got to have a very narrow band of merry friends that you are running around with, and then you got to control them because they're all freaks, you know. Helpful?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you so much.